Oh, what about you? You're very welcome indeed. Now, if you would like to join my little Patreon gathering, you can do so by going to that link up there, and you'll get the full thing at the start of the week rather than bits and pieces during the week and other bits and pieces, as I say. And thank you again to all the people who support this. Now, the court case in Dublin brought by Gerry Adams accusing the BBC of defamation has ended. And last week I thought Gerry was taking a chance. I thought Gerry was taking an L, throw of the dice. But here's the strange thing. While all the focus has been on Gerry Adams, the reality is it wasn't him in the dock, but the BBC, over its reporting and accusation that he had given the order to kill British spy Dennis Donaldson. Now, and it's the BBC, would you believe it, who's been found wanting after Adams walked away with 84,000 quid in his back pocket in damages, having been vindicated in his claim that he was defamed in a BBC Northern Ireland Spotlight programme broadcast in 2016 and an accompanying online article in which an anonymous, who knows, contributor alleged he sanctioned the 2006 murder of Dennis Donaldson. Now, outside court after his win, Mr. Adams had this to say.
From my perspective, taking this case was about putting manners on the British Broadcasting Corporation. I know many journalists. I like to think that I get on well with the most of them. And I wish you well, and I would uphold your right to do your job. But the British Broadcasting Corporation upholds the ethos of the British state in Ireland. And in my view, it's out of sync in many fronts with the Good Friday Agreement. It hasn't caught on to where we are on this island as part of the process, the continuing process of building peace and justice and harmony and hopefully in the time ahead, unity. I'm very mindful that this case could have been settled. The licence payers are going to pay for this. You know, the BBC aren't using their own money. Spotlight aren't using their own money. It's the licence payers, and as Paul Tweed has said, this could have been sorted out a long time ago.
I brought this case to put manners on the British Broadcasting Corporation. It's hard to stress just how black an eye this is for BBC NI, not only journalistically, but also financially. They now face a legal bill, right? A legal bill thought to be somewhere between 2.5 to 4 million. It's believed this could be one of the most expensive cases the corporation has ever faced. Adam Smith, director of BBC NI, did his best to cover the corporation's financial loss, saying, of course, a case of this importance, duration and complexity involves a significant expense. In common with other media organisations, the BBC has insurance and makes financial provision for ongoing anticipated legal claims. All very well, Mr. Smith, but you can be damn sure your insurance premiums will be jumped significantly after this disastrous incident. And who picks up that bill, Mr. Smith? Licence payers. Mr. Smith went on to say that his legal team had warned the jury that their decision in this high-profile case could hinder freedom of expression. And I have a problem with that. I do not deny this decision will indeed hinder freedom of expression, but only because the Spotlight programme, a programme which most people, including myself, have always held in the highest esteem, plainly bulged up big time. And because of their monumental misjudgment, BBC journalists will now be forced to double and treble and quadruple check every bit of reporting they do. This will undoubtedly leave what has always been the jewel of BBC NI's broadcasting, namely its current affairs and news gathering departments, effectively neutered. Such will be BBC hierarchy's reluctance to take any risks. But what I find utterly baffling is how nobody saw that accusing someone, right, of being involved in a murder based on anonymous sources, which could neither be checked nor validated, would inevitably come a cropper when faced with a legal challenge. To put this in context, the Spotlight programme may as well have argued, listen, hold on here, right?
I was in the pub, right? I was in the pub, and I was talking to this guy. This guy, I know this guy. This guy's a good guy. I was talking to this guy, good guy. He knows a guy, right, who knew a guy, right, who says Adams done it.
Seriously. And when asked for the name of any of the guys involved, well, the BBC's defence was, we couldn't possibly name them because doing so could put them in danger and be a breach of journalistic sources. Please. This made a joke of good journalism and a joke of the confidentiality of journalistic sources. If you're going to accuse a man of murder, you must have cast iron proof of that accusation. Like a demonstration of just how weak the BBC case came when during the court case, their legal team put up a picture. Remember that? There's that famous picture of Adams in the balaclava. The beret. He was in the beret, right? Adams in the old days walking with a beret. And the BBC legal team put it to Mr. Adams. What do you say about that? To which Adams replied that it made him a wee bit embarrassed as he thought it made him look like Michael Crawford from the sitcom Some Mothers Do Have Him. This resulted in much hilarity around the court and giggles. Now, the 11-person jury were not amused, and they were very unimpressed by the BBC case and came to their decision after only 6 hours and 49 minutes of deliberations. They pointed out that the words used in the programme and the accompanying article meant Mr. Anston that he sanctioned and approved Mr. Donaldson's murder. They further found the BBC did not report the allegations in good faith. Now, another thread to this whole case was the assertion by Gerry Adams that the BBC had refused to settle and insisted on dragging out this court battle due to what he said were outside influences, which of course we know in Sinn Féin terms is
The Brits are at it again.
This referred to another case Adams won relating to his internment, with the High Court in London deciding his incarceration had been illegal and that he was due compensation. Now, the British government has been adamant they have no intention of paying any such compensation. So the suspicion is that the same government put pressure on BBC NI to press on with this case in the hope that if Adams lost in Dublin, they would have some sort of cover in their continued refusal to pay him compensation. Where the truth lies is no doubt buried in top secret files not to be opened until the year 2150. But I have to be fair here and admit that not once in the decade I personally worked in BBC NI did I experience any bias towards either section of our society. I, as a political satirist and a mixer, as we call it here, I was allowed to say what I wanted, even when what I was saying would have no doubt caused some difficulties for BBC NI. So I cannot accept Mr. Adams' assertion that BBC NI is in some way the handmaiden of British imperialism in Northern Ireland. Now, but what I am sure of is this. Following this case, it will be a very, very long time before any BBC NI journalist dares to mention Gerry Adams' name again. Another thing I'm sadly pretty sure of is that nobody within the BBC NI will be held accountable for this disaster, even though millions in licence payers' fees have been squandered and irreparable damage done to the good name of BBC journalism. I ask the question yet again, why is it that in the public sector anything goes, with no accountability or punishment for incompetence and ineptitude? Such impunity to consequences means that no lessons will be learnt and similar mistakes can occur again and again. And who knows, boys and girls, if BBC NI had not squandered millions on this court case, they could have kept open their very popular radio foil station. Easily. One of the nice things about having done this wee vlog for a while is that occasionally I get to look back at predictions I've made which have come to pass. Way back on the 9th of January, I predicted this outcome in the bromance between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Here's a prediction I have, by the way. the exact same outcome regarding the Musk-Trump bromance. Indeed, I'd take a punt and say that there may be a falling out even before Musk gets his promised job to rationalise the US government. For while Trump thinks he's God, Musk now thinks he's the president, proving just how delusional both them idiots are. Now, admittedly, you didn't need a crystal ball to see that anyone sucked into the inner sanctum of Trumpism was doomed to fail. Trump sacked nearly his complete cabinet staff during his first term as president, and it looks like he continues in that vein. While Musk would argue his taking on the Department of Government Efficiency, or as it became known, Doge, was predicated on his love for his country, the reality is much more banal. For even the richest man in the world needed government money to realise his dream of sending men to women to Mars. Musk's tenure as Doge lasted only 130 days, yet in only that time he managed to destroy whole departments of government and also his own company, Tesla, with sales of his cars plummeting and attacks on Tesla dealerships. But Donald ensured Musk didn't leave the Oval Office empty-handed. Oh no, he presented him with a big gold key. Supposedly the key is to the White House, though I suspect strongly Musk will find it very hard to find a door for that key. Now, I had an opportunity to have a look at one of Musk's flagship vehicles, right? The Tesla truck during a recent trip to the US. And yes, it is a monster. But what possible function it serves baffled me. Unless, of course, you intend going to war. Like, these things cost up to $100,000. But thankfully, we will not be seeing them in any of our roads as they don't meet UK safety standards due to their massive weight and pedestrian safety concerns. You know what I find hilarious? Is the number of videos online where redneck Americans just prove how strong their new Tesla truck is by battering the living shit out of them.
Oh my God.
All right, so we're just hanging out with Steven, and what are you going to do with that, man?
I'm going to try this pickaxe on it. How about you? What do you think?
I'm going to watch you do it.
All right.
All right, so let's do both sides. Let's give it one side a couple times and the other side a couple times.
Sounds good. A bit. Oh my God.
gosh. Show the camera that. You bent.
We'll find out.
I guess so.
That's got to go through.
Oh my God.
Save the handle. Oh, there you go.
Oh.
Took a little shave off.
Oh my gosh.
Sheesh.
See, I told you it was bulletproof. God damn, that's a strong Tesla. Uh-huh. Oh, shit, I'm going to have to pay to get that fixed. Bertha, we need another loan. I've wrecked the Tesla truck, Bertha.
Staying on no accountability in the public sector, we have the continuing train wreck, which is the Belfast Health Trust. Now, I've already addressed some of the feelings of the trust in a vlog I did on the 11th of March. You want to go back and have a wee look at that? That was around the lamentable handling of different buildings such as a new maternity and children's hospitals. This week, a leaked report into its cardiac surgery unit revealed a culture of bullying with what appeared to be a power battle between some senior doctors in the cardiac surgery department of the Royal Victoria Hospital. This, in at least one instance, led to surgeons, wait for it, throwing instruments during procedures. Hold on. Let me repeat that for clarity. Some poor bastard is lying on the operating table and his surgeon is chucking surgical instruments around the theatre. Just fills you full of confidence, doesn't it? Fills you full of confidence. Now, the Health Trust chairman, Kieran Mulgrew, said that while the Belfast Health Trust won't be shying away from the issues raised, but he said he did not believe the difficulties in the cardiac surgery unit were reflective of the whole trust. Mr. Mulgrew may come to regret that assertion, as the Royal College of Nursing had already reported issues of bullying and disrespectful behaviour, and not just within the cardiac unit. There is no doubt that some high-ranking medics view their standing as just below that of the Pope. You understand? They demand absolute respect and treat junior members of staff as subordinates who they treat accordingly. Now, I have personal experience again. I have witnessed this with my own eyes. As a young man, a long time ago, I spent extended periods hospitalised due to a serious spinal injury. And while the vast majority of those who treated me did so with care and respect, there were a few exceptions who were invariably from the higher echelons of the medical tree. For instance, each morning surgeons did the rounds. This involved visiting patients accompanied by a gaggle of junior doctors who were in training, right? Now, good surgeons never failed to say hello, ask how I was, then ask if I minded if the junior doctors were in attendance as they examined me. On one occasion, however, a surgeon appeared at my bedside whom I did not know. He completely failed to introduce himself and treated me like a piece of meat. He immediately launched into interrogating his junior doctors about my injury and prognosis. And as they were questioned, I could perceive their anxiety bordering on fear. Oblivious to how his comments may affect me, the surgeon gave a very dark prognosis for my future. He ended by addressing me directly for the first time. Smirking, he asked, "You're not the sort of chap to throw yourself off a roof after hearing that, are you?" I replied, "No, sir. No. I'm more the sort of chap who'd throw a surgeon off a roof after hearing that." Two of the junior doctors had to turn round for fear the arrogant bastard would see them giggling. See, the problem is, consultants and surgeons, some of them, not all of them, a minority, view their departments as private fiefdoms. And this is an issue not unique to the Belfast Trust. No, the fact that an internecine war is being waged within its cardiac unit is of real concern. At risk here is the health of patients, who presently can't be sure if on entering that unit they'll receive proper care or be hit in the head by a scalpel thrown by an irate surgeon. As far as Mike Nesbitt's concerned, enough words. It's time you got a handle on your department. And ended the tenure of arrogant medics who act like petulant prima donnas and think they can verbally abuse nurses and junior staff and get away with it. It should be over. Over. Staying on issues of health, our Eamon Holmes. Hi, Eamon. Well, he fell off his seat while doing an interview on GB News recently. This comes after the broadcaster was rushed to the hospital following another fall at home. All this originated with Eamon following hip issues, which then led to 3 slip discs. Now, what I found nauseating is the number of complete wankers online who thought his fall was in some way funny and amusing. I pray you never have to experience the reality of slip discs and the utterly crippling sciatica pain they cause. I know. I have the experience. I've talked about it already. When I was 18, I seriously injured my spine, right? Leading to 4 slipped or what was called prolapse discs. For 2 years, I was completely incapacitated, ending up on walking sticks and having to sleep on the floor at night for some relief. Following 2 laminectomy operations, I got some relief, but sadly last year I had a relapse, which resulted in 2 admissions to A&E, one of which included an ambulance. Now, as Eamon has said, the pain involved is impossible to explain. I ended up screaming in agony, and I have quite a high pain threshold. In my case, it took ambulance staff who were brilliant. It took them nearly 2 hours to get me from the bedroom down into the ambulance. They also had to give me 4 cylinders of gas and air and 2 injections of morphine. Luckily for me, I only spent 1 night in the hospital and I was given medication which eased the worst of it. Now, I still have a fair degree of pain and I still haven't, the sensation in my left foot still hasn't returned. That's still a bit numb, but I don't use that one that much anyway. Anyway, joking aside, let me tell you, the fact that Eamon Holmes has continued to work while experiencing the pain he's going through is a testament to that man's courage and endurance. And as for you dicks who thought it was funny, if yous had to experience the pain he's in for 2 minutes, believe me, you would change your attitude. So, in conclusion, I wish Eamon a very, very speedy recovery. And I hope he gets back on his feet, both literally and figuratively, very, very soon. But if he's like me, this just is going to be our reality. For instance, right now it isn't too bad. The fact that I had the relapse, the fact that it happened out of the blue, I wasn't doing anything, I was walking, just walking in the flat. But what that does, it puts that fear in the back of your head. That fear's there now. I know this could happen at any time. So it's like there's a sword of Damocles hanging over my head by a thread. And it does affect your life. I went on holiday to America. I did not enjoy it. Why? Because for the 2 weeks, I was shouting myself that the back would go. And I'd end up in hospital. And then have to sell my house to pay for the hospital cost in America. But right now, it's not bad. Right now, it's not bad. And to any of you who have similar problems, you just got to stick it out. You just got to stick it out. Stay as mobile as you can. Keep moving. You know what I mean? It loves a sitting target. So I just live my life as if everything's okay today. But when I saw that online about Eamon, I became very angry. I have to say. Very, very angry. Very callous. Very cold. End of lecture. Goodbye.
You'll do nothing. You hear me? You'll do nothing.